Manning lost at Oscars match, so I'm doing the intro, and we're talking best movies of 2019. Cue the music.
Yeah, I lost an Oscar match there. I disgraced the Gone with the Wind name, and I was going to have Malcolm host the entire thing, but he doesn't want that, so it was more of a punishment for him than it was for me. So, I let him do the intro, at least to make me good on my word, make my word good, make me good on.
Make good on my word.
Thank you, Ryan. This is why Ryan is the smartest. He literally just said it and I can't repeat it. That word.
Make good on my word.
Make good on my word. Thank you. There we go. But yeah, hopefully that won't happen again if I ever get a chance to repeat myself. But in my defense, Malcolm, you picked a lot of actual Oscar award show ceremony questions. Now that I know, I'm going to be prepared, sir. But anyway, today's going to be a little different of a format. As you obviously tell by the title, this is going to be closed. This is going to close the chapter of 2019 completely, and we're going to talk about our favorite films, which we consider the best of 2019. And again, Abe's not here. Abe might join us a little bit later, but you know what? Because he's joining later, we'll see what happens with the legality of him joining in on the list. But we will see about that. But speaking of our actual panel that we don't have an Abe, but we do have a Malcolm. Lovely intro.
Hello.
Very good intro. Did you practice? Did you make it up on the spot?
Make up on the spot.
That's what I do. Good man. And then we have Ryan.
What is up, guys?
Ryan never gets a day off, and I feel for him.
Yeah. Well, just right now. I mean, there will be days off.
But just not right now. There are no days off.
Not right now.
I'm loving how you're just like, well, maybe, but not now. Will I? I don't know.
No, this week is going to be absolute insanity. So
I'm so sorry, sir.
Yeah.
But he graciously gave us enough time for us to do a quick hour 30. Well, we have less than an hour 30 now. Well, gee whiz. Okay. We got time to try to go through this, guys, but today's going to be a little bit different format. We're going to, and I quote, lovingly borrow a format that is akin to one of our favorite podcasts out there, the Top 10 Show, courtesy of them. Just do not sue us. I don't think they will, but, just throw that out there because this is the top 10 format. It's very hard to do on a podcast. Hasn't been done. That's something that hasn't been done before. But because we wanted a communal experience, we're going to try to make it our own in a little bit. But you'll also see some similarities if you do watch that show. So please actually go watch that. Listen to that podcast if you can. Go watch it on their YouTube channel. All that stuff. Just so, throw some traffic that way. Regardless, we're about to get started. So I'm going to have Ryan start us off with your number 10. And then he'll go 9, 8, 7, 6. He'll go his first 5. And through that first 5, if we have something that we have on that, if there's something on that list that we also have on our list somewhere that is not in our bottom 5, we will say, Ryan, what did we decide to say?
You're going to adjourn it until later in the list.
There you go. I adjourn this for later until later in the list because legal terms. I literally asked Ryan if there's a legal term we could use because anyone should know it's definitely not me and Malcolm. So anyway, Ryan, tell us your bottom 5 of your top 10.
All right. So I changed this number 10 pick recently. So my number 10 of the year was, surprisingly enough, Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit.
It's in my bottom 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then we can all talk about it.
We can talk about it as well too. I was about to say it's not. I will say it's not on my list. It made my honorable mentions because when I first saw it, y'all know out of everyone here, I was not the highest on it. But it has increasingly grown on me the more I think about it. And I guess I didn't have as a favorable opinion upon it as when I initially saw it because I had some friends on a podcast talk about it. A shout out to the Weekly Pop-Up. You guys getting free publicity again. That's 2 podcasts I'm shouting out today. They talked about it a little more, went into depth, and it's one of their favorites. And it kind of made me have a greater appreciation. I still am not a fan of Scarlett Johansson in that. I know.
You're wrong. You're just wrong.
I may be wrong, and I accept that. But I will agree that everything else about that movie really, really does shine, in my opinion. Especially the big twist, which is still one of my favorite moments of that year. And it's just kind of a beautiful film that Think Taika Waititi does. So I applaud that. I applaud that pick. But I'll let you guys discuss it since it is actually on your bottom five.
Yeah, I watched it again when I was on a plane recently, and I was just struck again by like how good of a coming of age tale it is, and how like kind of thoughtful it is. I mean, my big complaint with Taika Waititi in general is his lack of care for kind of surrounding worlds and for like the emotions that underlie a lot of the stuff that's going on in his stories. But his two best movies, which are clearly this and Hunt for the Wilder People, like I think that those are the movies where he taps into that emotion and does something really well with it. And Jojo Rabbit, I mean, just it's such a charming movie to watch. It's cutting in a lot of interesting ways. And I think that at the end of the day, when I was thinking about the top 10 list, I thought it deserved a spot. So that's why it is my number 10.
I love this movie. I think it's great. All the acting is perfect. There's not much more I can say about it that you haven't said, but I mean, it's one of those ones I haven't gone back to rewatch it since I've first seen it, so it may move up or down depending on a rewatch. But as of this moment, it just sits at my 9. So it's a good movie.
I'm surprised it's not higher considering what's behind you.
For the audio listeners, which is everybody.
Yes.
Malcolm has a Jojo Rabbit poster directly behind his head, so it's giving him the bunny ears. All right, so my number 9 was Pedro Almodovar's Pain and Glory.
Not on my list.
I'm assuming that didn't make any other list.
Nope. Great movie.
A beautifully contemplative tale. One of the best performances I've seen in a long time with Antonio Banderas. And just stunning. Definitely make it past that 1-inch barrier of subtitles because this one is worth it. It's really, really, really good. And like I'm not super like I have only seen a couple Almodovar films, and it was very moving. So definitely worth the watch. Number 8, I have Ford v Ferrari.
Oh, what's the word? I wish to adjourn this until later, sir.
All right. Number 7, I have John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum.
Yeah, not on my list.
No, not on my list, but that's an awesome choice.
I adore this movie. It's so much fun. It's such a well-made action movie. It's, just consummately entertaining. The cinematography is stunning. Like, absolutely. I mean, this is a movie that probably most of our listeners have seen. So singing its praises, only goes so far. But definitely it was one of the most fun experiences I had at the movies this year, and was one of the early top movies that I had, and hung around for a long, long time in that top 5 before the end of the year came around. So John Wick 3, definitely worth a watch if you are random and haven't seen it. And rounding out my bottom 5 here at number 6, I have Greta Gerwig's Little Women.
That is a definite. I object until later, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, that's my bottom 5. So
sweet, Malcolm. If you would do the honors, tell us your bottom 5.
Well, my number 10 is already adjourned. It's Ford. My number 10 is Ford v Ferrari.
Okay.
My 9 was Jojo Rabbit, which we've already talked about. My 8 is Us. Us is one of those movies that I didn't know much about when I saw the trailers. Like, this looks awesome, and he like Jordan Peele's capitalizing on Get Out so much. This movie is just great. Like, the creepy elements work, and just the whole doppelganger storyline. It's one that I've never really seen a lot done this style of thing. But just seeing like Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Dugan that play a I think they called tethered, but the
Mm-hmm.
tethered versions of themselves, just going at the family. It's just one of those ones that it shows both of these people have dual personalities. I kind of wish Lupita got nominated for an Oscar for this, but I mean, it was tough to get her in there as it is. But it's a good movie. I love it still to this day.
And I will add, while this didn't make my 10, it is on my honorable mentions along with JoJo because that movie, while not as good as Get Out, obviously, there are a lot. Jordan Peele is a filmmaker that, while he came out of nowhere, it feels like he's been doing this for a while. He has this really great visual eye, and there's a lot of great moments, even while the story doesn't always make sense from a realistic, not a realistic standpoint, but from a logical standpoint and how it kind of treats its characters of the world that they inhabit. There's a lot of suspending of disbelief in this that happens. But he has such care and such intricate little details that he puts in there as a filmmaker that I really do appreciate. And I think this one was the better directed film, but not the better directed not the better written, if that makes any sense, as well, from his prior outing and Get Out. So I do have to say Lupita is fantastic and might be my favorite female performance of the year. Not the one. We'll get into that later, but I applaud. That's a great pick. And that was your 8, correct?
Yep.
All right. Keep going, sir.
My number 7 is Uncut Gems.
We're going to adjourn that until later.
Haha!
And my number 6 is already going to be adjourned, I know, because it's the same number 6 as mine. I've got Little Women.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Okay, this is gonna be really interesting to get to this discussion over here.
Right.
But hey, y'all have it y'all have it on your 10, so I am very still pleased with that. Okay, now we're gonna get to my list, and look at us, we're already making great time, guys. See, we're gonna get out of here and on a decent time. Knock on wood.
Yep.
But my number 10, and I'm not sure. This movie has not aged in my mind as well from when I initially saw it, but my respect for it is a lot more, and that's 1917. Not on anyone's list. And I'm curious to hear y'all's take after I finish this little excerpt. But 1917 is a beautiful powerhouse of a film. It is just something that you stare at in awe the entire time. What Deakins and Mendez do is something that should be lauded and considered a triumph just from what they have crafted. Because as I mentioned before, and I will still say again, it is a literal tango between the camera and the actors, what they managed to accomplish. And I will say sometimes it doesn't have the same emotional weight as other films do. And there are some moments where, of course, I was brutally affected. And there are other moments where I felt very disconnected. It's more of a marvel and a feat and something that I'm excited to see what they do in the film medium with these one take type films. I consider it a method more than a gimmick, but one of my friends pointed out to me, well, they kind of pushed this really hard as the selling point for the movie. And I said, yeah, they went a little overboard considering they had a 60-second competition for people to send in their one take movies or whatever. I didn't know about that until he pointed that out to me. And I think that kind of takes away from the beauty that they have created with this film. Because Father Deakins, blessed be his name, just kind of shows us once again how good of a cinematographer he is. And I'm now glad he has 2 Oscars under his belt. So this movie is a lot more respect than actual. I will watch this to the dying ends of the earth. But I have such great, profound awe that I am in for this film. Number 9. I know none of you will have this on your list, but that is How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. No one. I thought not. I'm biased. I love this trilogy with a passion. It represents something personal for me and the relationship that Hiccup had with his father, Stoic. And I do believe it is kind of like what is that saying? It is a diminishing returns type of saying. But the first one was the best. Second one was really good. This one is also very good, but not as good as the previous 2. I still think it's the best animated film, up there with Klaus, in my humble opinion, that I've seen. But this one has this beautiful trilogy come to a close, and the heart of it is Hiccup and Toothless, and what Dean Dubois manages to do in telling his story of what this is, of this young boy growing into a man and having these situations in his life of growing up, losing someone you love, and then ultimately having to let go of your past and childhood. It's a beautiful coming of age tale that wraps up in a way that just you don't see in most animated films. There's this mature darkness to it, and I can also say Roger Deakins, Father Deakins, blessed be his name. I'm literally going to do that every time I mention him because this man is a legend. He helped as a visual consultant from the series from day one, and it shows just how beautifully animated this film is. And DreamWorks, by greenlighting this, they capped this film series perfectly. And I would not have it any other way. Powell is amazing. Jay Baruchel is also phenomenal as Hiccup. And I think it's just a beautiful, beautiful film. They're it's not as highly cinematic quality as the other two, but it's still one that I recommend you all go out to see if you have any attachment toward these characters whatsoever. If you don't, I'm still gonna be biased. Check it out. And then number 8, none of you will have this as well. And again, clarification on mine. I don't know about you all because this is all our own personal top 10s. I do have documentaries on here. That is American Factory. I thought not. And none of you are going to have the next one. I can guarantee that too. I always try to go out of my way to see at least a couple of documentaries a year when I can. Obviously, the ones that are nominated for an Oscar, I try to go out and see every year. And this is one that kind of was on my radar when it first started to pick up some award speed right after Apollo 11's big drop. American Factory was one that I had no idea about Dayton, Ohio, and the closing of General Motors and the taking of the Fuyao glass and how they managed to inject themselves into that culture, and seeing that culture clash take place. As someone who is in the news, how this felt very natural and very just kind of, it felt very much like they were just telling the story happening. And as someone who has seen this happen in a sense of just a corporation coming in and taking something from the inside, but having a way where it feels very human. It's not glamorous whatsoever. And it just feels like these people are living their lives. They do that beautifully in this film. And I think for the ones that were nominated, it's my personal favorite from the documentaries that we've seen this year. And it's fully deserved in what they managed to do. So I'd recommend you all go see this because I felt like I learned something after I'd watched this for something that I think is overlooked. So I'd recommend you all go see it. It's on Netflix. And then number 7, no one has The King, do they?
No.
Okay. Number 7 is The King. No one expected this, I'm guessing. This came out earlier, mid-year, with Timothée Chalamet, Joel Edgerton. I don't think anyone cared about this movie. Obviously, it disappeared under him. As you can tell by Ryan's chuckle, it's a weird movie. It's very slow. It's dull at times, but there is this beautiful. How do I say this? There is this mystique and this almost Shakespearean type dialogue that they drive for Old English, because it's based off of, I believe, loosely based off of Henry V, I believe, or is it?
I think it's somewhat based on all the
Henrys.
Yeah,
I know it was based off. There was a core one they took a lot from because the character of Joel Edgerton plays, whose name I'm escaping. What's his name? Is based off of a character that is in those plays by Shakespeare. And I'm a sucker for period pieces, as we'll find out later on this list. And this one just kind of it was a deconstruction of the character of Henry. And it had kind of everything that I loved in a piece. Beautiful music, great performances. Robert Pattinson doing a really weird French accent. I love that. And then Max Richter's score is one of the most haunting of the year next to like Us. It's one that is just really melancholy, and it's something I recommend you all go out and listen to if you have a chance. It's very underrated. But it's just a very engrossing amount of performances for a story that is very cut and dry and sometimes to its detriment. But there is just so many good things in here. And Timothée Chalamet just proves once again why I love him as an actor. And Joel Edgerton is also one of the most underrated actors of our generation right now at this moment. And I think his performance in here speaks to the power that his presence can bring to the stage or to the screen. But yeah, and it's also historically inaccurate for a lot of stuff too. So don't quote that as gospel, guys. This movie. And then yeah, wait, that was 7 and number 6, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Y'all have it? No. Wow, this is none of y'all have had a single one in my bottom 5. Huh. I'm just gonna keep. I told myself I didn't want to talk a lot, and look where I am. I'm talking a lot. Wow. Okay. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Like The King, less to the extent The King went under the radar. It tried to get a lot of traction, but outside of Tom Hanks, it really didn't do too much. Maybe a Writers Guild nomination for writing, but man, guys, it's such a gut wrenching film. It pulls on the heartstrings, and Marielle Heller, excuse me, gets to the heart of what Fred Rogers was, of who he was as an individual. And this isn't a movie about him. This is a movie about what he represents and how that affects others. And Matthew Rhys gives it a criminally underrated performance this year as our main character, who just interacts with Mr. Rogers. And the way that she, as a director, incorporates the elements of the show into this actual film, I was on board within 5 minutes. I won't spoil what that is because I will encourage you all to do that. But this movie had me in literal tears for the last 30 minutes. She gets such good performances. Heller gets such good performances out of her actors, and Reese and Hanks are no different for this one. They embody their characters to a T, and it just kind of has this effortlessness to the filmmaking. So I won't keep talking about it, but I encourage you all to go see that. And I'm really surprised at how different my list is turning out to be than I anticipated. I know if Abe was here, it's on his list, I know, but sadly he's not. So I'm blaming Abe for it not making. But yeah, those are my top 5. I'm gonna stop talking now. And Ryan, what do you got for the next 3? We're gonna do our next 3. That is our 5, 4, and 3. So what are those, Ryan?
All right. So one thing I will note for the audience is that I do not rank documentaries alongside narrative films.
Yes.
If I did, Apollo 11 would 100% be on my list, but it is not because I don't do that. So sorry, Apollo 11, you're amazing. Everybody needs to go see you.
Yes, they do.
Number 5, I have James Gray's Ad Astra.
Ooh, wait, hold up. Do I 5, 4, 3? Yeah, no. Okay, it's not one. It's not my 2 or 1. It's my 3. And Malcolm, is it on yours? I'll let you take it away, Ryan.
So I think this is the science fiction marvel of the year. Like, as much as I liked High Life, I thought this movie really it's a movie that's like set in a science fiction environment, but it's really about the human psyche and about coming to terms with certain things. And I just really appreciated how interesting this movie was, how beautiful it was. Like, I actually, a lot of it I can't get over is how just stunning
it
this movie
is.
was from start to finish.
Beautiful.
And it's a movie that is, like, honestly, it has one bad scene, and the rest of the movie is almost pitch perfect and quite like I really like The Lost City of Zed. I think that movie, like, it's very slow and like drawn, like kind of like very sticky toffee. But
Yeah.
I think it's a criminally underrated movie. I think James Gray is a very interesting filmmaker, and I think the way that he works with Brad Pitt in what really was a criminally underrated performance,
Yes.
was quite
100.
special, and was amongst my favorites of the year. Manning?
Oh, I will add. First off, is it the monkey scene?
No.
No. What was that one bad scene then? I'm thinking.
It's the scene with him and Ruth Negga.
Which one? The one where they're like talking
Where
with
they're
each
just
other in the
like
room?
talking in the room with about
That wasn't
the
bad.
parent. Yes, it was. It was poorly acted and just generally not.
Well,
It is. It's at such a lower level than the rest of the movie. And it's just like this like
huh.
weird, like we need to propel the plot forward. So here's a thing to happen
I
scene.
need to re-see that again because I did not get that. It wasn't like, oh, this scene is amazing and win all the Oscars, blah blah blah. I didn't have that reaction when you saw it or when I saw it.
Mm,
So I need to go back and like I'm gonna try to critically analyze that scene
yeah.
now to see like
Or
what
like
is
that's how it sit with me anyways. And that was
okay.
my initial reaction. And like my memories of it certainly haven't gotten better.
Okay. So basically
Um,
it was like a plot dump, is what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay. Um
But yeah, no, I thought it was really quite good.
yeah, no, I 100% agree. This is controversial time. Controversial time. I think this is the better Brad Pitt performance of the year. Not to say he's not good. Not to say he's not good. In before you all destroy me. Not to say that he's not good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I just think he
Mm,
is given more to do in this one and really shine. He has a subtlety in this that is like if you just watch his eyes, like even the beginning scene where you just see the sorrow in every single glance that he takes toward the audience or just any character. This is a guy who is literally empty, and you see that with his eyes. And I won't spoil what he's not what he's searching for, but there's something more than his father that he's looking for. But you'll get into that as you watch the film because not enough people saw this. More
yeah.
people need to actively see this film. And if there's any movie that I say that didn't get enough buzz this year, not only awards wise, but just critically, financially, all that stuff, it's Ad Astra. So please go out and see that, guys. It's really good. I have one. Me and Ryan reviewed it. That was ages ago. It feels like. But I called it. I called it similar to it's a modern rendition of the Odyssey. Not like it's beat for beat, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's this character going through events, meeting specific characters for only scenes at a time, and how those scenes and those characters interact with him or shape him in a way, drive the plot forward and drive his character arc toward the end. And so, wait, Malcolm, have you seen this?
No.
Okay, then I'm gonna be as spoiler free as possible. Please go see it if you have a chance. Be like Malcolm, guys. Go watch it. Right? You're gonna watch it now, right, Malcolm?
Maybe
Okay.
it was one of those ones that didn't like from the trailers. It kind of didn't make me interested in wanting to see it. So
Okay. In my defense, some of those trailers were not good. They did not do the film justice because I know we watched a film. I was trying to convince my mom and sister to watch it. Amazon Prime, not Amazon Prime, excuse me, but Amazon and Video had it. We watched a trailer. They were not into it, and I told them this is not indicative of what the film is. So do not let that move you in a way. It's not good. It's not great. But yeah, no, Ad Astra, great, real good. Sorry, Ryan. You may continue now with your next one.
All right. Well, I'm assuming the next one is going to be adjourned, because it seems to be everybody's favorite movie of the year. And there's good reason for that. But my next one is Bong Joon-ho's Parasite.
Sir, that is what we call a. I wish to adjourn this for later.
Okay. Now, in my next one,
This is your third.
my next one, which is my number three, is a movie that nobody's going to have on their list. I'm fairly certain, which is Clint Eastwood's Richard Jewell. Uh,
No, I don't have it, but I forgot about that movie.
a movie that everybody forgot about and nobody saw. Um, I really like this movie. Like, I mean, I kind of I jive with Clint Eastwood as a filmmaker. Like, I think that he tells stories that are interesting to me as a 50-year-old man in a 29-year-old body. Um, and this movie is like it has so much emotion and it's like so well acted, and it's a movie that is like beat perfect, just for what it is. Like, it just does what it sets out to do, and it's interesting, and it you know and no offense to your profession, Manning, 'cause this isn't a reflection on you
Well,
necessarily, but it takes a little bit
listen.
of it takes a bit of a hunk out of the news media, which sometimes deserve it.
Okay, I'll let you finish
And,
that first.
and I just think that it really, like as I said at the beginning, like, it just kind of, it does everything it needs to do as well as it possibly can. And I was very moved by Sam Rockwell in this movie. I think he did a superb job. And Paul Walter Hauser, for the
Yes.
second movie in a row that I've seen him, another superb performance. And really, it was underseen and underrecognized
Um,
and
I'll quickly
underremembered.
say the sensation national hold on, excuse me, I can't speak words today. The sensationalism that happened with Jewel and the media, how they did that. Again, I'm in news, but I'll be the first to say that was horrendous, should not have happened. And sometimes, which is why I can't speak for all news medias, but for where I work, we're very, very cautious about what we go after, because incidents like these can lead to the destruction of individuals' livelihoods, and we can't have that. Because other than that, because as Ryan said, integrity is lost with that. So yeah, no, that's my quick defense that I have. But otherwise, it's not really defense; it's more of an agreement or an affirmation of what their movie was trying to say.
Yeah.
But if Abe was here, I know he liked it enough, so he might have had it on there. But we can blame Abe for that one not making it on either. And it's not on yours, I'm guessing, Malcolm.
No, because it's only just opened up this weekend.
Oh,
so maybe I might check it out.
Well, I know that it was probably his most well-reviewed movie in a while. Also, quick question, Ryan. You said you jive with most Clint Eastwood films. What about the 1517 to Paris? Did you jive with that
Okay,
one?
you know what? He makes some bad movies from time to time. Okay, like,
I know. I'm just
the
yanking your
man
chain.
isn't perfect. Like, I will call him out when the movie is bad, and that was bad. That movie was not good.
Okay.
Malcolm, get us off this discussion.
Yes. No, let's keep on. I'm kidding. Go ahead, Malcolm.
My number 5 is maybe an adjournment, but my number 5 is Marriage Story.
Not for me.
No, senor.
It's not on my list, surprisingly.
Yeah, Marriage Story is one of those ones that I didn't know what to expect when I watched it, but this is one that it is reminiscent of Kramer versus Kramer in a way, but this is a more modernized version of it. And I think that all the acting in this is phenomenal. Even though I don't think Laura Dern should have got an Oscar for this, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later on when we talk about the other one she should have won it for.
What could you be talking about?
But this is one that I really loved, and all the performances are great. I kind of wish the Oscars went for an upset and had ScarJo win over Renee, but between those two performances, it's really hard to go one's better than the other because they're both so different as well. So, but I mean, I love Marriage Story. I think it's a great movie, and it's just that big argument scene is just probably one of the best scenes in the movie as well.
It's the best scene to me because throughout the entire movie, people were building up to that confrontation because they've been very, they've been holding themselves back, and that's having that cathartic moment of yelling between the two. And then when he ultimately says, if I could guarantee, what's the kid's Henry? Is this a little kid's name Henry? I feel bad. I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah. If I guarantee Henry's safety, I hope if I could guarantee his safety, I hope you die. Or something along those lines. And when he says that, him breaking down and then realizing that's just, it is that both of those. I love Scarlett Johansson in this one, guys. Just to let you know. I think it is a powerhouse acting from both of them. And it's not a showy film by any means, besides that one scene in particular. but it's a very subdued scene with a lot of their emotions, and I think they both played it wonderfully. And it's a really good film. It's very good, and I can't say anything too bad about it, or almost anything bad.
Good.
My number 4 is Booksmart.
No,
I know Ryan does not have it on there. It's close to my honorable mentions, but not there yet. So go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah, this movie is for me is one of the ones that came out early in there that just stuck around. And this is just one of those ones that I think Beanie and Caitlin Dever have great chemistry together, and I'd like to see more movies in which them as a duo, whether it's a comedy or any type of movie, but they just work so well together. And this, I mean, there's all the arguments that this is a female version of Superbad, which I kind of get that comparison, but I don't, because it's not. It's really different from Superbad in the fact that this is actually good. Superbad's just a bad movie. But yeah.
Shots fired.
Malcolm, I don't know that we can do this podcast together anymore.
We say that every week, but here we are.
I
was about to say, do you all need to time out, or do we need to?
I need a timeout. Fuck.
But this is one of those ones I wish got more love at the Oscars. But
is that it? Was that your 3? Or your?
No, that was my 4. My 3 is Midsommar.
No.
Oh wow. Go ahead.
This is a movie I did not expect to like, but because I wasn't a big fan of Hereditary when it came out last year. But I went this because partly because I knew Florence Pugh was in this, and I think she's great, and
she is.
She's my celebrity crush at the moment, but but
gonna be a fight between you two next.
Listen, it's okay. She has Zach Braff.
I think both.
I don't know that that's a win right there.
It's not. I mean, you know what? Love, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to comment upon someone's choice.
We can easily take down Zach Braff anyway. But anyway, this is a movie which, to me, was unexpected, and it's one of those ones that at times is so creepily uncomfortable that you can't look away, but yet you can't keep watching it at the same time. But it's one that has, for a home movie, it's really good with what it does, and just all the interesting things. I don't want to go too much into spoilers for this one, because it's one that if you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it, because the twists and turns it takes throughout this, you never see coming, and it's one that, I mean, it's one of those ones that I can't spoil if I wanted to, but yet there's so much about this movie that I don't want to say because it's surprising. So, yeah, Midsommar's my 3. I
will say it's a horror film, so obviously stuff's gonna happen. Ooh. But how that happens and the highlight of this film, cinematography first, but Florence Pugh is I'm gonna say the actress, but probably is the most consistent actress this year with 3 fantastic performances. And what she does and how her character deals with grief, that those first 30 minutes, it's super long and too long in my mind, but I know you disagree with that, Malcolm. We talked about last week. You're ready for that extended cut.
Yeah, I'm excited for the extended cut.
How she deals with that and what her character goes through is something, as someone who's dealt with grief myself, it's very raw and real. She feels so distant from everything that's happening around her, and she plays that beautifully to a point to where it was disarming for me to see that, how that played out. She is by far the highlight. Before we even get to before we even get to the where did it take place? Norway, Sweden. Sweden. Before we even get to Sweden, she's already stealing the show, and she continues to do as such. And I definitely everything that Astor does, I'm still looking forward to seeing what he does because he's a very unique filmmaker in the business especially ever since Hereditary came out. So that's a good choice. I respect you for that one right there, Malcolm.
Yeah, and she's bound, like Florence Pugh's bound to have another great performance in Black Widow when it comes out.
I hope they give her enough to do is the only thing I'm worried about. She deserves it.
But yeah, I think we go on to your 5-3.
You're right, we are. And now we're getting into we are getting into movies now that we've talked about. Now we can talk about Ford v Ferrari, guys. My number 5, Ford v Ferrari. And I'll make this a little more quicker since we're all going to be talking about it because this is the first movie we all had.
Yeah.
Well, what do you know? But Ford v Ferrari is probably my favorite traditional filmmaking this year. Now, when I say traditional, I mean it's not a movie that has these really interesting quote unquote gimmicks or quote unquote methods of storytelling. It's presented as is. There's no greater allegories. There's nothing that it's trying to say. It's merely trying to tell this emotionally engaging story of these two men and how they went to Ford to take on Ferrari. And it's just a well-crafted film. James Mangold is such an underrated director. Ever since, I don't know, I saw him when he did 3:10 to Yuma, I was like, this guy's got it. And now after this one, I can confidently say this guy's got it when it comes to directing. And man, that editing and that sound, those are some great Oscar wins right there because those were impeccably done just from a technical standpoint. And Christian Bale, I love that guy. He can effortlessly act at this point. Even when he's not amazing, he's still really good. But yeah, those last 30, 40 minutes, whew, man, that's good filmmaking right there. And jump in whenever you guys. Oh, Malcolm, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Ford v Ferrari, it just made my 10. I initially, when I last did my top 10 movies of 2019 at the start of the year, it was a bit higher, but then I saw two movies which hadn't come out over here yet, and that pushed it down. But I mean, Ford v Ferrari, it's a great movie. I knew absolutely nothing about this at all going in, and just to see a bunch of great sort of car racing and just all the Oscars it got was deserved. Yeah, it's just one of those ones that I thought was great, and to sort of see portrayed on screen the New Zealander racer Bruce McLaren a few times as well. At least he was mentioned anyway. It was just interesting.
And Ryan, what words do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, this is the ultimate dad movie, I think is what everybody's called it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just a lot of fun, and well acted and interesting, and yeah, it's hard to kind of pile on to the praise that you guys have gave it because that's really like where it succeeds. It's technically great, and it's telling just like a very conventional but like inspiring story and a story that makes you feel good, and bad in some ways. Like, it has some light and some dark, and this is a really cool story in the world of car racing, and it was nice that it got put on the screen in such a glamorous way.
Are we excited for James Mangold directing Indiana Jones 5?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's confirmed yet. I know it's in talks.
It's not, but
it's an interesting pick. But yeah.
Well, I think the question should be: are you excited that there's going to be an Indiana Jones 5?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
No, nor am I. I think that we should just be done. I mean, we should have been done the last time.
We should have. Oh, wait a minute. Who is this? Who is this?
Batman.
Guys, it's Batman. Where did you come from, Batman?
Gotham City.
Wow, that was I walked into that one. Guys, Abe, I told you Abe would show up, and Abe showed up.
You know, I would have showed up like 30 minutes earlier, but the bus like got delayed like 20 minutes. So
Okay. Well, wait, what have I done? I only did my fifth one. So, you know what? Quickly, Abe, tell us your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tell us your 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Tell us all those. Tell us those top 6 right there.
do I have
Just
to
fast.
say something
The
about the
bottom
film?
6 of
No.
your top
Just fast.
10.
Thank you. Bottom 6. Tell me your
Okay.
bottom 6. Don't
What
need to say
there-
anything about them.
Weathering with You, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Well, 10, 9,
Oh, wait.
8. Avengers Endgame. Yeah. 7,
Okay.
The Irishman. 6,
Okay.
Knives Out. 5th, Honey Boy.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. And then and then we'll go back to you once I finish this for your next few. My number 4 is The Farewell. And if it is on now, Abe, is The Farewell on your list at all? No. Cool.
No.
Because if it's on anyone's list, if our next few are on, is anyone's if 2 or 1, we say I'm adjourning it until later. Is what we decided, Ryan, or I'm adjourning it until.
That's what we decided, yeah.
Yeah, I'm adjourning it until later. So we're gonna wait until we have our final 2 to say that. But because I definitely know someone has Hollywood higher, so
Maybe.
I wonder who that is. All right, and
Are we doing best or favorite? Because those are my
Either-
favorites. Okay. I don't think the best are my favorites. You know, it's just.
I get what you're saying, but we're doing what you think your favorite of this year is. Although we can have that
Okay.
discussion in a later date. All right. Now my number 4 is The Farewell. I know this won't be as high for everyone, but there are a few films this year that spoke to me on a very basic human level as The Farewell did. There is just something that is overtly melancholy about this entire thing. It's tailored through a very cultural lens, but it's also incredibly relatable to how families process grief. And grief is a big thing that is, from me, again, my dad passed away last year in 2019. So that is a big thing that I saw in film and how characters used that or how directors showed that. And The Farewell, specifically Aquafina, if you told me last year that the girl who was supporting the crazy lady in Crazy Rich Asians would give my favorite performance of this year, I thought you'd be crazy. This is a beautifully intimate film, and I think that's what Lulu Wong managed to do, telling a story that was personal to her and giving that and sharing that for the world. It's powerful, and I think that it's also very eye-opening for those who are unaware, for those how those process grief, and as well as those who process grief who are not from a traditional individualistic American culture. It's wonderful in those ways, and it's also a great supporting cast. And I can't say anything better about it because nothing else to say. That's my 4, and my 3 is Ad Astra, but we've talked about that already, so I will forgo that. Abe, what do you have for 5, 4, and 3?
I told you number 5.
Oh yeah,
Honey Boy. Do I have to describe it?
Yeah. No one else has that, I'm guessing. So give us a quick.
This one is one a lot of people that haven't watched, or I don't know if you guys watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. I'm gonna tell it in every show I am, and it's just a personal film, and it just made me cry. And I'm gonna tell you something. When a film made me cry, that's a top 10 film. If a film makes me get mad, like in a good way, that's a top 10 film for me. So it's having an emotional response for a film for me. That's what puts some over the other, and that's it. And Honey Boy, just like it's I mean, you guys know the premise of it is like Shia LaBeouf, like it's a kind of a autobiographical. Yeah, and it's short. It makes a point about the relationship with your parents, and you know I don't have a good no, I don't have a bad relationship with my dad or anything, but it just hit me like emotionally something like just make you think about you growing up and the things that happen to you and how the people around you can affect you in a way. And it just hit me, and I cried,
Mhm.
and I won't stop saying I cried. And it has my favorite performance of the year, which is Shia LaBeouf, and I thought he was amazing. Alma Harrell, I think it's how you pronounce her last name, Harrell. It's Alma Harrell.
Sure.
Yeah.
I need to look that
Uh,
up.
she just directs this film. It's beautiful, and the best, honestly, the best thing is that it's short. Like it makes its point, and you're done with. It. Like and we don't get a ton of films like that, so that's my number 5. Number 4, another one that made me cry, and I'm not afraid to say it. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Hey, I knew he'd have it on there. That was my number 6.
Oh, okay. This one is like same. This one I like it way more because I mean it made me cry, but also it's like
I
the
know, right?
I think Marielle Heller direction. Like I just love her. Like her 3 films are just incredible, including this one. I think it goes like this one. Well, Can You Ever Forgive Me? This one and uh, Diary of a Teenage Girl. I don't know. Have you guys watched that one?
No, I have not. I've not seen
You
that
should
one.
watch it.
All right. I
But
mean, after
but
this,
this
yes,
film
she deserves it.
and the way she directs, like she takes her time like to make a cut, and the performances and the story can honestly be like a little bit like how you call it, like cookie cutter. I don't know if that's the correct way, or like cheesy at times, like the way some
Overtly
things.
sentimental, maybe.
Yeah, that's a more eloquent way to say it.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it truly I wasn't I was and for someone that like was not introduced to Mr. Rogers until last year, I had no idea
Oh
who he
wow.
was because like growing up like in Mexico or anything, like I don't have that guy who like you don't know who he is, and it's just an exploration of a character. Like how can someone that outside your world can really affect you? And I think that's something we all go through. Like I mean, he met Mr. Rogers personally, but like there's some characters or people that we don't even met for some reason like affects our lives, and that's my number 4. Number 3, I laughed way too hard in this movie for way too many times, and that's Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
All right.
So
It definitely was on our
it was
list.
my 10 and Malcolm's 9.
Okay, I just gonna say like quick because I guess you guys have talked about it. I just love this. It's so wonderful. Scarlett Johansson in it it's I have a crush on her. Sad whatever, but it made me laugh. I was laughing so hard, and I watched it twice in the theater, and I was laughing the same. I think Taika has some like he's just he balanced the comedy and the dramatic parts in the film incredibly. It's beautiful to watch. It's has great performances, and makes you question your own morality. Like, is everybody is a bad group really we're all that bad? And I don't know if that's good or bad, but it made me think, and that was important. So Jojo Rabbit number 3.
I mean, yeah, no, that opening of Jojo Rabbit is still like with the "I want to hold your hand" with the that was that set the tone real fast.
Yeah.
All right, and then that gives us to our final 2. So Ryan, what is your 2 and 1?
All right. So my number 2, adjourned from earlier, is the Safdie brothers Uncut Gems.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I really love this movie. It's really, really, really good. And really, really intense. And yeah. I mean, I think that they took everything that I'd seen from their earlier films and really just kind of like not racked it up a notch. It's a very complete story and one that's incredibly compelling. And I think that Abe made a good point. Like, and a movie makes you feel something like it belongs as a top movie. Like, this is a movie that even the second time I watched it, like I knew what was going to happen. Like I knew what the ending was, but your like palms still sweat. You get like really uncomfortable, like as this thing just like ratchets up to its conclusion. And it is very intense in a really interesting and cool way, and I'm really happy that I got to see it, and I think that it's a movie that everybody should see.
I'll see it, I promise. I'm just still nervous.
Yeah, I mean, like I had at 7. Uncut Gems is a great movie. And I think all the performances in this are great. Like Adam Sandler doing another knockout performance as a dramatic work. I mean, I guess we could expect his worst movie ever made now that he was snubbed for the Oscar. But hot take, I think his performance was great. But I think the Academy had the right 5 nominees for Best Actor. So I think he would have been he just fell 6. So
Okay,
I mean, he did make it to the Gone with the Wind 5, so hey.
he did.
Hey, there you go. What's your number 1, Ryan?
And my number 1, it had been that way for a real long time now. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's 9th outing. And you know, the more the more I watch this movie, the more I love it. Like honestly, like the first time I saw it, I was like, I really, really like this movie, but I don't know, I don't know how much I love it. I just sort of respected it the first time I saw it. Um, and every subsequent viewing, I've just enjoyed myself more, and it's another like one of these it's a mood movie. Like you watch it and it puts you in a very particular kind of mood, and like honestly, like there are a few movies that I can really say do that, and this is a movie that's like so complete and so just like it's so well developed. Like the performances are all amazing. I still love Al Pacino, and don't think enough people talk about him. And it's just like I don't know. This movie got to me, and I just think it is the best complete piece of cinema that I saw in 2019.
That is high praise right there. Well, I love it when people love movies and then they give me sound, rational reason as to why they love it, because it makes me appreciate it more. And you keeping on talking about this has made me appreciate this movie more. I don't love it, but it makes me appreciate it further. So I like it when people do that. So thank you for that, Ryan.
No problem.
And then, Malcolm, what are your top 2 films of the year?
My number 2 is Avengers Endgame. This is one that I was really surprised that didn't make my number 1, considering how much I love superhero movies and that. But it's just a movie that came later in the year with a better ensemble of people that I thought I really enjoyed much more than this. But yeah, I mean, Avengers Endgame was a whatever the word
Culmination.
is. Culmination. That one.
It's okay. We can't speak. It's okay.
Of 22 movies, and it did everything right. This is one that when I've heard they were doing time travel, it reminded me a little bit that they were going to bring everyone back to life, and it was all going to end up with everyone alive, but they still ended up at the end with and spoilers if you haven't seen the movie that's made almost $3 billion by now, but Black Widow is permanently dead, and a lot of people are dead, and I don't think there's a chance they're going to take away those stakes and bring them back. I mean, Black Widow's got her own movie coming out, but that's a prequel, so to speak, set between Infinity War and Civil War, from what I've heard. But Endgame is just the perfect sort of ending to a saga, and it's going to be interesting to sort of see where the MCU sort of goes with their movies going forward. I think they will probably lead on to another big bad for maybe another 10 years down the line or something, but it's going to be interesting now that they've sort of stopped a saga and just go somewhere different.
I mean, listen, they own the rights to Doctor Doom now, so please, Marvel, do it right this time.
I mean, if anyone's going to do a Doctor Doom mod, it will be Marv.
I mean, I hope and pray. That's my favorite villain right there. Abe, wasn't also Endgame in your top 10?
Yeah, it's number 8.
Any quick words you have for it?
Honestly, I watched the movie 3 times in the theater. Every time I was crying way more. Like the first one, it's so much that you have to process that you don't know how to react to it. And the second one, you notice all the beautiful things that happen in it. Like, oh, this is so. And then the third one, I was a mess.
But my number one movie of the year is one that I'm surprised I haven't had to adjourn from other places to list, but I'm pretty sure everyone loved this movie on this panel. But I'm taking my Knives Out. But Knives Out, which also has Chris Evans in it, funnily enough. But
honorable mention though. So just.
But this is a movie which, when I first heard about it, was like, oh yeah, it's just going to be a Agatha Christie parody sort of thing. It's going to be a murder mystery. It's going to be just the same old thing. This is a murder mystery with a difference because they throw in twists that you wouldn't expect with this kind of movie. And I'm not going to spoil it here because if you haven't seen it, you should see it because it's going to get a sequel. And Daniel Craig's Detective Blanc is probably one of the best characters in this. Just the way he doesn't speak a lot at the start. He's just randomly sitting there in the background with the interviews. It's just fun and the ensemble cast is great, and it's one of those ones in which I love it so much and can't wait to see sort of who they're going to get in for the sequel and what crazy stuff they're going to go the next time.
And I will say this is probably his best written film that I've seen. So this is incredibly smart writing. And Abe, this is also on your 10, right?
Correct, Manning. I just love this movie. I think the ensemble is incredible, especially all the women. I'm in love with all of them in a way. That's the thing that happened. Like Tony Collette is really funny. Like Jamie Lee Curtis has a presence that I don't know a lot of actors have. Like she just steals, like when she's on screen for me, like she steals the frame, for the lack of a better word. But yeah, I was truly engaged in it. I watched it once, then I took some of my friends like to go watch it, and they were just as hyped. So I was happy to that. Like. And also, it's kind of a crowd pleaser. Like, it's a movie everybody can watch, can enjoy. Like, doesn't have a side or something, and it's just great. I really liked it.
I agree.
Now we're getting a sequel to it.
We are Knives In. That's what it will be called. All right, so Little Women. That's my 2, guys. Just throwing that out there. As you all know, I adore this movie. I adore
it's
Little
also
Women.
on everybody's list to point out.
Wait a minute. It's Abe. Is it Little Women on your list?
No way, Jose.
Okay. Okay, it was until Abe came. It was on everybody's list.
It was.
Although what position did Ryan? Well, Michael and Ryan. Where do you guys have it?
Yeah, where do you guys have it again?
We both had it at 6.
Okay.
And it is my 2.
I'm gonna tell you where it is in my list. I recognize it.
Okay. Well, quickly, 28. Oh, you hurt
48.
me, sir.
48.
Yeah, I'm kicking you off the podcast.
Look, I have to say
right now.
Before you give props, the movie is wonderfully made, beautifully acted, wonderfully directed. But I was not interested in it. I can recognize everything that's good with it.
Well, let's sit.
I think Greta Gerwig directs the shit out of it.
All right, man.
You good? You good? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I know Malcolm has to get going. So he can say something good about it. Little Women, for me personally, is one of the most is the most emotional film for me personally. I am a huge Louisa May Alcott fan, so I am of course biased in the sense of the actual story. But how Greta Gerwig, as Abe was saying, Greta Gerwig is in the director chair is phenomenal. She knows what she wants for this, but does something that is both fresh but familiar with the story. She makes it both engaging in a way that we haven't seen before, but also emotionally taxing for those who have seen it. Because you know what? We may know this X character is not going to make it all the way through, hypothetically speaking. I won't spoil it. But we still are gripped in how she tells the story is something that I didn't know I needed. But the non-linear way that she tells this is it makes this coming of age story fresh. And man, this movie is just an embarrassment of riches when it comes to the cast. It got runner-up for a reason for Ensemble and Gone with the Wind, guys. Second annual last episode, check that out. Ronan, Pugh, Scanlon, Watson, Dern, Cooper, Letts, Chalamet, they're all great. They are so good, and Greta Gerwig gave one of my favorite directions, and the editing is completely underrated with how she manages to tell that story, because that movie lives and dies by the way they edit that, and I give it full props because the March family is one of those families in film that I just connect with on an emotional level, and she did this movie beautifully. So Malcolm, before you go, Little Women.
Yeah, this is one that I loved. And this is one that it did go down when I rewatched it a little bit. Because this would have been my number one had I not rewatched the second time. But and it just went down a little, just slightly because I found the time jumps a little bit jarring at times. But that's basically my only sort of negative. And that's just one of those ones that I think is great. The acting's great. Saoirse deserved the nomination, and Florence Pugh should have been nominated at the Oscars, but
she was.
She should have won.
I'm about to say, well, in comparison to Dern, I can't say anything bad about
like Scarlett Johansson, Jojo Rabbit.
And as I alluded to earlier, this is the movie Laura Dern should have been nominated for the Oscars over Marriage Story, but it's either way, both performances were really great. I wouldn't be surprised if the voters saw her names like, oh, she was great, a Little Women tick.
The nominations come out. Wait a minute, wrong movie. And then Ryan, tell us Little Women for you.
Yeah, no, I think that this movie is really charming and delightful and well acted, and I thought the cinematography cues were beautiful. There's a scene with Chris Cooper that's incredibly moving.
Yes.
And just generally, like, I think this movie is extremely well done and deserves its time in the spotlight.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Go ahead.
Were you? Well, I don't know if you guys knew Bob Odenkirk was in this movie and was playing the father.
I forgot.
Okay,
I knew, but I forgot.
Were you guys kind of underwhelmed, like when he shows up as the father? You know, Bob Odenkirk, good-looking man, but for the daughters he had, you have to be way harder to produce that kind of offspring.
What? That's what you were thinking?
I didn't. That thought did not cross my mind, but
well, it did mine. I was.
Okay.
Next time we watch it, we're going to be thinking like, oh God,
so, it's like, well, they take after their mother, I guess.
We know Laura Dern has dominant genes, so.
Obviously, that's the case. And I know that Malcolm has to go. So before, Abe, you tell me your final two. Malcolm, tell us what your top 10 was once again.
My top 10 was Ford v Ferrari was my 10, Jojo Rabbit was my 9, Us was 8, Uncut Gems was 7, Little Women was 6, Marriage Story was 5, Booksmart was 4, Midsommar was 3, Endgame was 2, and Knives Out was 1.
All right. And before you head out, can you somehow make that list for us so once we make our top 10, or can you stay for the next 10 minutes, or can you not?
No, but my list is on Letterboxd. So.
Okay. Can you link that to us so we can go after it? We can make it. All right. So you will be here with us in spirit. Your list will be here with us, but you can go ahead and rank them right now. All right. Thank you, Malcolm.
See it.
Thank you for the intro. All right. Now, Abe, tell us your top 2.
Okay, this is where I'm gonna get some kind of shit from you two, and
Uh-oh.
I'm ready to it. You know, I'm a kind of a rom-com guy, and if I get a rom-com romantic comedy, if I get a good one, I love it, and I rewatch it several times in the year, and I just have a crush in this woman so many times, and she's wearing a red dress in this film, so long shot, you know, Charlize Theron, Sarah Rogan.
Forgot
Oh
you
man, I
love this
love
movie so much.
it, dude. I love that movie. When I watch it, I'm just happy. When I watch the movie, I'm just happy, and it has heart, and it's not something we don't get that many good rom-coms these years. So when we get a good one, it's like I'm there for it. I'm the guy that loves Crazy Stupid Love. You know, that's my number one of 2011. So that's the definition of me. Like it's not the
Wow.
greatest movie of all time. But if you told me what you want to rewatch right now from my top 10, I will tell you Longshot.
Wow.
And I've seen it 5 times already. Like sometimes I
5
just put it in the
times.
yeah. Watching in the theater, then if I say, oh, it's in the background, and it has heart, like, and it's beautiful, and it has a good message. Like, you shouldn't care about what people say about your partner or significant other, whatever you want to say,
Mhm.
because we're people like you're enough. Like for anybody, you're enough. That doesn't, like it's kind of it has the message of she's out of my league, but I think it does it better. So that's a good one. Number one. This one is when I saw myself in the theater and I couldn't believe it. Booksmart.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was those
Okay.
girls in I was those girls in high school, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I mean, I didn't judge the people around me that saying you were all dumb or something,
I
but
was
like,
about to say, you were the class president?
oh no, not that much. I was a top 10 guy, straight A's. Teachers loved me. I did everything, well, almost everything. I was a really good student at the time. Right now, I'm pretty good right now. But yeah, that one, like the and also friendship. For me, friendship is like way more important. Like, I value my friendships. I had the same friendships for the last 10 years. Like,
Wow.
it's crazy. Like, many people tell me, how do you well, they're from middle school, but still, like, but it hit like those teams and Olivia Wilde, like that's a hell of a direction. That's the directorial debut, I mean. And I just felt connected to those characters, and it's so funny at times. Like, what's the name of Princess Leia's daughter?
Billy Lord.
Billy Lord. She's just a surprise.
She is. She's great.
She's just fantastic in this movie, and I was just happy watching it. And I also cried at the end. Also has some romantic stories, so I love romance and laughing. So if you see my number 1 and 2, you will ask what the fuck's wrong with you, and I accept it. I'm kind of I know they're not gonna be in our top 10 overall, but I'm just happy to watching them. So that's my 1 and 2, everybody.
Wow. That definitely feels like an Abe list right there. Heavy
They're not
on.
they're not the best directed movies or best acted, I have to say.
Well, they're your favorite movies, though.
Yeah, but they're my favorite.
And I gotta respect that. Same thing like when Ryan was touting Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love when people sing praises about their films, and I get to understand why they really like it, and they get connected with it. And that's why you got connected with it. So props to you on that one. I love how we all don't have the same top 10, because I just realized I skipped my number 1 because we got out of order. My number 1 film of the year is Parasite, and that's, for anyone who's been watching this knows without a shadow of a doubt, Parasite has been my number 1 film. Well, actually, it wasn't my number 1 film when I first saw it. Over time, it had just grown, and I've loved it. Just what Bong Joon-ho has done. I was never the biggest Bong Joon-ho fan. I really hate Okja. But I love Snowpiercer. Okja's a thing. But I have had this renewed sense of wanting to go watch his filmography now. I need to go see Memoirs of Murder or Memoirs of Murder?
I don't know.
We need to
I
I
clarify
think
this.
it's memories.
Either way, I need
But-
to go back and watch his filmography because apparently he deals a lot with this type of film that he does is similar to others that he's done before, but he's really perfected the craft that he's attempting to create with this film and Parasite. It has the single greatest tonal shift that I have personally seen, going from what is a dark comedy into a full-on dramatic, not thriller, but a dramatic tale with a little bit of suspense thrown in, while still keeping its darkly comedic edge to it. It is a genre-defying film that I appreciate to no end, and it is one that kind of make me feel all the emotions. Because as we mentioned prior, movies that make you feel something, that's why we go to the movies. That's why we watch movies, and this movie made me feel everything to an extent. And the fact that it's a foreign language film, I don't think I've ever had a foreign language film was my top film of the year. Close, but never to the top extent. I could be totally wrong. I need to go back and check. But this
Roma
is
was your number one.
Roma was not my number one last year. I can tell you that.
It should have been.
Maybe, but that's another discussion. It is a movie that I encourage everyone to go see. It is brilliantly done. It is a movie I can't speak highly enough of. The cast is fantastic. That house is a character in and of itself. And there are now specifically just going to be a resurgence, I hope, in what this means for the door for foreign language film and South Korean films in general. So I'm looking forward to see what the future holds, because Parasite is a movie that I'm going to be... It's an absurdist con man story that goes beyond what I ever thought it could be. And this roller coaster was one I didn't want to get off. So, Ryan, was this also on your 10, I believe?
Yeah, it was my number 4. I think it's a really great movie. It takes a really interesting turn halfway through. And I just think it's like it's an impeccably made film that was interesting and kind of all over the place in a good way. And it has a very specific styling that is really interesting, and it's really terrifically acted, and it's just all around a really terrific movie.
And was it on yours at all, Abe, or no?
I mean, I had it at 15, and for me it comes
So
out
no.
like
Nope. That is a resounding no.
So that is
No,
a
like-
resounding no.
But this is the thing, like honestly, like my 10 to 15, like they can all like it's just a matter of time. But my thing with Parasite, I think it's in peak. It's wonderfully made, like from beginning to start, like the acting, and you're engaged from the beginning, and the direction is. I mean, that Oscar was well deserved. And the script is just the ending for me. That ending just doesn't make it for me. I was because I can get mad at a movie and understand it, like for a character choice or something, but I was like, this just no. It just you had a different tone, and I don't think that tonal shift works. Like it's not when it starts, when they met the guy. Well, spoilers, I guess.
Well, spoiler.
When-
Go ahead.
When they discover the husband, I don't think it's there. Is it the moment I don't
The birthday
remember
party?
that. Yeah, it's a birthday party. That's where everything goes to hell for me. And also the consequences. I don't think the film has many consequences. I mean, two people die. But, yeah, okay, 2 people die. And the one that deserved to die, the worst one, which was the daughter, actually got it, and I'm happy for that. But the husband, didn't do anything. He was okay. He was a how you call it?
It's a little bit of a elitist jerk,
Elitist?
but that doesn't mean you need to die. I understand that.
No, you were the villains. The family were the villains of the story, and you won. Like, I mean, we rarely get films and you
We
kind of
don't.
won.
Which I will say which is why I really enjoyed the film, because while they were kind of horrible people, we were rooting for them to an extent for most of the time. At least I was personally, because
I
we
was
had
not.
attached.
I wanted them to get caught and get the consequences from their acts. That's what I wanted.
Interesting.
Like, it's just I was like, you're an asshole, especially a kid. This movie get me mad, like in a good way, in a bad way. Because this is great. Like you can have a discussion, like the morals of the story and how you think about the characters.
Agreed.
But like, yeah, and I mean, I'm talking about it. I really liked it. Like, there's no question, and I think it's wonderfully made. It's just the ending for me.
And I'm not denying the fact that these individuals made some horrible decisions. They were literally parasites. That as the name implies. They were parasitic individuals. They were literally living off of other people's Wi-Fi and living on little change that they could. And I don't know if that was because of their circumstances or if they put themselves in there. But either way, regardless, them trying to get themselves up to the top, they ultimately brought themselves down to the bottom because they kept lying their way into this con man type story. Which again, I'm spoiling some of it, but oh well, by this point, it's won Best Picture. I encourage you all to see it regardless. I'm not going to say anything else about it because what he does by playing with that morality and that classism and shows the good and the bad of what each side in that class can do. I was on board and I think people should go see it. But anyway, all right. Those are our top 10. So quickly, Ryan, what is your top 10 as real fast?
My top 10. Number 10, Jojo Rabbit. Number 9, Pain and Glory. Number 8, Ford v Ferrari. Number 7, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Number 6, Little Women. Number 5, Ad Astra. Number 4, Parasite. Number 3, Richard Jewell. Number 2, Uncut Gems. And number 1, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Cha-ching. You have to have that pause because,
Yeah.
Where's it? And then
There is an
Abe,
ellipses there.
There is an ellipses. You're right. And then Abe, what is your top 10?
Number 10, Weathering with You. Number 9, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Number 8, Avengers Endgame. Number 7, The Irishman. Number 6, Knives Out. Number 5, Honey Boy. Number 4, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Number 3, Jojo Rabbit. Number 2, Long Shot. And number 1, Booksmart.
And my number 10 as a recap are number 10, 1917. Number 9, How to Train Your Dragon in the Hidden World. Number 8, American Factory. Number 7, The King. Number 6, Ford v Ferrari. Number 5, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I'm seeing Abe's face right now as I go through my bottom 5.
Sorry. It's because you say The King and I say, I don't watch the movie. I need to watch it.
No, I encourage you to watch it. It's definitely
nobody has talked about it, so that was my reaction. Your list is fine.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, number 6, 4V Ferrari. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. Number 6, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Number 5, 4V Ferrari. Number 4, The Farewell. Number 3, Ad Astra. Number 2, Little Women. Number 1, Parasite. So, as we make the communal list of this, there is not a single film that is on all 4 of our lists. So,
oh boy, guys,
infinitely harder. Parasite is not on. It's definitely not gonna be on number 1.
Okay,
so
what had the highest preponderance of those 3 films?
I think Little Women, Jojo Rabbit with what was it for you, Abe?
3.
I think it's Jojo before.
Yeah, I think Jojo.
No, because Jojo is a 3, 9, 10, and 4B is 5,
8, 10. Go the first 3.
We're the first 3, guys. It's better than where we were a couple seconds ago. Okay, it's not be as hard as I anticipated. I'm basically gonna cross out my entire bottom 5 because no one had any of those.
1-9. Does anybody have anything to beat a 1-9?
Well, let's not forget Booksmart.
Take that, suckers. Oh, sorry.
Fuck that. Parasite and Booksmart are both 1-4.
Do you want to flip a coin on this? Because I will flip a coin.
The only thing I can flip is a bag of fruit snacks.
Now, viewers, we're seeing Manning. He has a rope.
Shoot.
He threw it and he cannot catch.
Nope.
That's the saddest thing I've ever seen. Knives Out.
Hold on.
Knives Out is before
Hold
Once
on.
Upon a Time in
Hold on.
Hollywood.
Wait, I'm trying to write this down. One second.
Where's your Knives Out? Oh wait, no. Wait, hold on. We had a 2-7, which would beat Avengers. It technically beats Once Upon a Time as well.
Yeah.
Which
Does it? 2-7? Oh, yeah, it does.
which hurts my feelings.
Ad Astra.
By the way, that's also better than 1-9, and it's also better than 2-8, and it's also better.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Knives Out. Knives
What?
Out. What was
Where
Knives
was
Out
Knives
on
Out?
your list? I don't want to hurt Ryan anymore today.
I mean,
He's been
he were
hurt
3
enough.
of his films in the top 10. I only have.
I know.
No. I have 3 too. Not 4. 5.
I'm about to say.
Oh, I have 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Gone with the Wind best films, top films, however you want to call it, favorite films of 2019 are as follows. The 10th spot, Avengers Endgame. Number 9, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Number 8, Uncut Gems. Number 7, Ad Astra. Number 6, Knives Out. Number 5, Booksmart. Number 4, Parasite. Number 3, Ford v Ferrari. Or Le Mans 66, depending on where you're from. And then number 2, Jojo Rabbit. Rounding it out with probably the most well-regarded film. Maybe not the most loved, critically acclaimed by everybody, but the most well-regarded. That is Little Women at number 1. And I am quite happy with that. Biasedly so. All right.
There we go.
I have 9 out of. I mean, if you're looking at my top 20, I have 9 out of those 10, except number 1. So.
So that's how the cookie crumbles.
In my top 20, we actually don't add any. Well, no, we add one more. So I've got 8 of them in my top 20.
I was about to say, we add. I mean, I still have not seen Uncut Gems yet. That's the only one I have not seen. Literally, out of our entire list we talked about, that's the one I haven't seen. But if we do add all of that, all of these are in my top 20.
9 if we go to my top 30.
Oh, then we...
And we have to go to 32 to get all 10.
Which I'm guessing is Booksmart.
Nope.
No.
It's long shot. No.
Booksmart is not the lowest on of this top.
No.
Oh, is it in-game?
It is, yes.
Aha, there we go.
Well, you have to go to my top 50 to get Little Women. So. It's in the middle. You know, it's before, after.
How many films did you see?
103.
Jeez.
What was the lowest ranked movie for everybody that was brought up today?
It was brought up today. Ooh, that's a great stat.
I mean, I didn't watch Midsommar. Let me check Malcolm's, please.
Yeah, mine was
3.
Midsommar, which came in at 53 on my list.
Oof.
I don't know what else.
Which
I don't know.
I'm just going to throw out a few honorable mentions, actually, while we're just...
Go ahead. I'm trying to find out that last one.
So, my 5 honorable mentions that I would like to throw out: The Irishman, number 11, just missed the list. 1917, number 12. The Two Popes, The Peanut Butter Falcon, and Fighting with My Family.
Another good one.
Which hung around from the beginning of the year to still stay in the top 15.
Good for it. Good for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then A, what are your honorable mentions?
Okay. A Parasite. I think we will talk about it.
Mhm.
Can you hear me? Because you're cutting out to me.
Oh, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you.
Okay. Good Voice. I just love that movie. I remember me in middle school, early middle school. So. Richard Jewell, which I think is an excellent film. Like Clint Eastwood said. Ford v Ferrari, and us, nosotros, usted. You know, that one was in my top 10. You know, but after retooling a little bit because I couldn't have one movie out, I said us. You have to go because I haven't rewatched it out of my top 10. So I think that's my top 15
For my honorable mentions, it was right at number 11. It was Marriage Story, super close. 12 was Us. 13 was Avengers Endgame. 14, not by any quality whatsoever, by 0 quality, maybe like 2% quality. Frozen 2, mainly because I love that movie so much, not because it's good. And then 15, Midsommar. But yeah,
you love the song.
Listen, that there is I actually enjoy a lot of the songs in there, even though they're not particularly great. That movie is another great movie. Again, I mentioned how it deals with grief and how letting go and loss. I'm a sucker for those films, so I can't say no to those because I'm lost in the. Okay, all right. I think actually my lowest film was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So. Not it's at 30. It's at 30.
You're crazy, man.
Oh, 29.
Out of 40?
Yeah.
Also, Captain Marvel worse than Godzilla? I mean, I have to say,
I might
Captain
switch
Marvel.
them. I might switch those two. But I listen. I'm a huge fan of Captain Marvel, and that movie was garbage. So
No, I have to say, you haven't watched a lot of shit, like really bad stuff.
oh,
used
I
to
refuse
put
to watch movies that I know that are bad.
No, like I put myself through a ton of shit sometimes, like
Why?
damn the boil, because I don't know. I think
Sometimes
it's
you have
important.
to, but
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
yeah,
it's important.
but if I have the option, and again, most of these movies I see are not bad. They're just I don't go out and see bad movies. That's not my goal. Most of these are just like I just didn't love as much as the other ones, like Hustlers. Hustlers, I really liked Hustlers. I'm not gonna.
your list does leave me with a couple questions, so many. I have to be honest. Now that I'm looking at it.
Well, you know what? We can't. They can't all be perfect.
I'm sure that mine does too. So
Hey, that's the
Not
beauty of
the
film, guys. Taste. Everyone has different taste in film. Even though the quality, people can bicker about quality because, there are some objective standards when it comes to film, but there are also some subjectivity when it comes to how we respond to a film emotionally. And I think this list is
Man.
eclectic enough for us to
Do
be
you watch?
representative.
Do you watch Cats?
Not yet. I'm still trying to.
Oh, okay.
It's
Ryan,
gone from theaters.
Ryan, is Cats your last one?
it is, yes.
Okay, same.
I will see when it comes out. That
I mean,
I'm gonna see it
Diamantino
someday.
is not much better, but it's
What
slightly
movie?
better than Cats. Diamantino.
I don't
What
know.
was- what is that?
It's very strange. Look up the trailer. I don't know. Like, it's
What's it called?
Diamantino. Well, I'll find it and link it in the chat here.
Yeah, I was about to say. Oh, nope, found it. What is this? How is this up at 87% on Rotten Tomatoes? 87%. What in the world? This poster. What is this? Okay, yeah, no. I'm so curious about what this is actually. But anyway, we have gone on long enough. Ryan, where can they find you?
Anywhere you want to follow somebody on the internet, Kid19. But generally my office. That's where. That's where.
Recently?
If you actually want to find me, that's where I probably am.
Where's his office? You don't know, but it's somewhere.
It's in Edmonton, Alberta.
There you go. Never mind then. But you don't know who he works for. So.
Yeah, unless you were to Google me, but that's.
Oh, I'm actually gonna Google Ryan after this and see what pops up. Well,
You don't want to
Lawyer.
Google me.
do I not want to Google you? Who? If I was gonna Google someone, Abe, where would I Google you?
You will find a link to my Facebook page, which I don't want you to add me on Facebook because I don't care about your life and you shouldn't care about mine either. Diamantino, you know what it means in, in Spanish, it means like, how you call those sparkles? I get sparkles like those butter
Yeah.
sparkles. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
that's
think the
amazing.
movie is Portuguese, but in any
Yeah,
event,
and this
It
is
is.
Superstar 6 Redemption, but it explained by
Yeah.
That's
I was like, I
amazing.
didn't really understand any of it, so I'm pretty sure it was Portuguese, not Spanish. But
No, it was Portuguese, but it's Diamantino. You can follow me on Instagram at Abraham Flores 25 and on Twitter at Abraham F25.
And if you do, I had to look up Ryan McKenna Lawyer because the baseball player came up before.
oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, that baseball player
That other one that everyone knows so well.
that nobody knows.
Exactly. That's what's funny because I don't know anything about baseball, so oh well. And you can find me on Twitter at Cine_man. That's CINE_MANN, as well as on my YouTube channel, Manning Franks. And just over here, find us on YouTube at Take 3 Productions or subscribe to our podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, all that good jazz. Wherever you get your podcasts, we probably are on there finally. So again, leave us a review and a rating because we love stuff like that. Might read it next time we have an episode. We'll see. And again, thank you all for listening to our top 10 of 2019. This has been Gone with the Wind. Tune in next week as we enter officially 2020.